Hey everyone, Jeremy here with the Geekly Grind, and I wanted to take a few minutes today to talk about Sea of Stars. So if you've been following the Geekly Grind on Twitter or X for any amount of time, you would know that we are big fans of Sabotage Studio, and we have been highly looking forward to Sea of Stars for quite some time. And we're not alone. There's been a lot of hype for this game for a while now, and that's mainly because it has been hailed as the spiritual successor to Chrono Trigger in many ways, least of which, not the least of which being its combat system, its aesthetic, its soundtrack, and basically just every time gameplay is seen of this game, everyone kind of immediately looks at it in a sort of Leonardo DiCaprio meme style, says, "Hey, that looks a lot like Chrono Trigger." And Sabotage has not been shy about their inspirations for this game. They previously did The Messenger, which was a fantastic tribute to the classic Ninja Gaiden games, and really toyed with the idea of 8-bit, 16-bit, 32-bit graphics. And if you haven't had a chance to play that game yet, I would highly recommend that you do so. It's a fantastic game, and we heaped praise on it when it came out a number of years ago, and deservedly so. So go and check the game out if you haven't already. For Sea of Stars, this game also deserves all of the praise that it's been getting. It's been a wild year for games, as we all are well aware, with Tears of the Kingdom, Armored Core 6, Spider-Man 2 is coming out, Baldur's Gate 3. There have just been so many amazing games that have come out this year that you would think an indie RPG from Sabotage Studios maybe wouldn't make that big of a splash, but it did. There were a lot of folks that were paying a lot of attention to Sea of Stars when it arrived, partially due to the fact that it was a day-and-date release for Game Pass, but also because it just got some really great reviews when it came out, and fans like myself have been waiting for it for a while, and to see it finally arrive, it got the attention that it deserved. And the reason that it deserves all this attention? Well, there are a few things. First, as I mentioned before, the aesthetics. This world is so vibrant and colorful. There is just so much to explore and unlock. And there is a good amount of platforming in a sense, but it's more so that you are interacting with the world itself, as opposed to just kind of like running along a path and like running into monsters. There's a lot of climbing. There's a lot of hopping between platforms. There is just a lot of interacting with puzzles to get into new parts of a dungeon. And at first, I wasn't sure how that would age as the game went on. But honestly, it never got old. I really enjoyed that element of the gameplay in terms of exploring the world and kind of moving through the game in a different style than I might typically in a game like this. So yeah, that element of the gameplay is great in terms of exploring the world. The pixel art is fantastic. One of the standout elements of Sea of Stars, in addition to the aesthetic and the visuals, is the music. Eric Brown, who also composed The Messenger, which also has stellar music, by the way, go and check it out. It's fantastic. This time around, Eric had some help from Yasunori Mitsuda, who famously has done music for a lot of amazing RPGs, but most specifically for Chrono Trigger. And again, being a spiritual successor to Chrono Trigger, it would only make sense that you would have the composer come on and help with some of the music in order to complement the visual style and complement the gameplay to better deliver that sort of experience. And so, mission accomplished. Music is really something else. It's extremely charming, and I feel like once you have this soundtrack, you will definitely be putting it on loop. I would also just quick plug here, Chained Echoes, which came out quite a bit earlier this year. also has a fantastic soundtrack, so I would encourage you to check that out as well if you're looking for a similar sort of style, classic RPG style soundtrack. There's some really good stuff there as well. But Sea of Stars has a phenomenal soundtrack, complemented with those great visuals, the great engagement with the world itself, and then of course there's the gameplay. So Chrono Trigger's battle system involved the interweaving of various characters' abilities to perform dual techs and triple techs, and seeing the enemies on the battlefield was also something that was sort of unique and new at the time. Previously in Final Fantasy games and that sort of thing, you would be wandering around on a world map or wandering around in a dungeon, and the screen would just sort of fade and transition into a battle. You wouldn't necessarily see where the enemies are. With Chrono Trigger, and also here with Sea of Stars, you actually see the enemies on the field, and there are typically ways for you to either avoid the encounter if you wish, or run up and initiate with the enemy in order to start that combat. There are a number of timed elements when it comes to Sea of Stars combat, so hitting X or hitting your action button at just the right time as you attack, as well as when you receive attacks, can help you complement your defense or your attack respectively. You also can absorb magical essence from enemies as you strike it out of them to strengthen a secondary attack. So there are, there is a sort of cadence that you can get into with the combat, and it is pretty addictive. I mean, I would go as far as to say, whether you're an hour 5 or 25, you are still really looking forward to and enjoying that back and forth of the combat. And yeah, I think I don't know if it fully delivers on the promise of, or the richness that Chrono Trigger's original combat system had. However, there are elements of, earning stars, earning different levels of combos that you can perform with allies. So, you can do like a kind of like an X strike type thing, or different skills that involve different allies. And so it does kind of harken back to that system. I just don't think it quite delivers to the level that Chrono Trigger had back in the day. But still, great combat system, and for those who are fans of Chrono Trigger, you'll definitely catch those rhythms and those kind of echoes of that previous system. And then finally, there's the narrative, and so the story itself revolves around two solstice warriors, Zale and Valir, and they essentially are put through a training program and then sent out into the world to battle ancient evils known as dwellers and keep their world safe from the forces of evil that would do them harm. Of course, Sabotage is really good at sort of turning stories on their head and challenging notions of like good and evil and that sort of thing. And so as the game progresses, you do experience some interesting narrative twists, and some you might call, from maybe half a mile away, maybe not from a mile away, but you can see them coming. But there are others that are genuinely shocking and surprising. And that also is a kind of breath of fresh air, because so often it seems like the narrative is sort of laid out for you within the first couple of hours. You can kind of see where the game is going to climax and how it's going to resolve itself until you ultimately get to the end of the game. But Sea of Stars kind of keeps you guessing when it comes to that. I will say the characters are a little stale. The dialogue is a bit dry from the protagonists, but the NPCs and the secondary characters that are around them make up for that, I would say, with their own richness and their own flavor of dialogue and that sort of thing. So I would, it was sort of disappointing that the central characters weren't more. I didn't connect with them as much, but again, I think overall, with the aesthetic, with the gameplay, with the music and everything else, Sea of Stars delivers a fantastic journey for any fan of RPGs, especially classic RPGs. And Sabotage Studio has done it again with a fantastic title that I think gamers should go out, pick up, and enjoy. And as I mentioned on the previous video, it's Game Pass is a fantastic bargain, and this is just another reason why Game Pass would be a great deal. It's also on PlayStation, I believe. If you are a PlayStation Plus member, at the, I think, premium or the extra tier, you should be able to get Sea of Stars there as well. But regardless, find this game, buy it. It's well worth your time, and I am happy to say that the hype has it has delivered on the hype that I've had for this game for a number of years, and I'm very excited and glad that it was received so well, because Sabotage deserves it, and they've done a great job with this game. So, and if you're interested in any more geek content, anime, video games, tabletop games, etc., check out the Geekly Grind. Thanks for spending some time with me. Have a great rest of your day.